Welcome back to theZoomer. Technology has become an integral part of our lives, giving us the ability to connect with people all over the world, maintain long-distance relationships, and reconnect with old friends. Now, during the pandemic, our entire social lives went digital, even with major life events like weddings and funerals moving online. But it's not the same as in-person contact. So what makes it not the same?
A lot of people during the pandemic were able, especially if they had really busy social calendars, to transition their calendars online. They had virtual book clubs, they did Zumba online and all of that. But everyone talked to us and said, you know, it doesn't feel the same. I miss having a hug. There's something about the in-person, you're seeing people's reactions, that it's the unspoken things that you're connecting about, it's the silence in between that just doesn't translate online.
And that's exactly it. I mean, again, as social animals, having been here for hundreds of thousands of years, we've developed a certain way, and technology is a very new introduction to that. So, and I'm looking at you face to face, something is happening neurologically, oxytocin is being released, and this does not happen to the same degree, if at all, when it's through a screen.
You're from the generation that's what we'd call a digital native. So is it the same for you, or do you recognize that it's not? Tell me.
Yeah, of course. I would rather meet someone for coffee in person than talk to her over Zoom. It's definitely a different interaction. You can see someone's mannerisms, the way they behave, and that really tells you a lot about someone that you don't really get over Zoom, I think.
A generational thing? Do you think other young people kind of understand that they're not going to get the same, or they're so, frankly, involved with their devices that they don't get it?
I think it's hard for kids to separate that. The kids that came through that pandemic, they were connected, and I have a daughter that's young who is, it's very painful to take her phone away. It is actually a physical thing. But yes, but I think there's also a group of people that we're forgetting, and those are the people that don't have access to digital technology. And so they weren't able to get resources, and they were completely forgotten because they weren't visible, they weren't seen.
Yeah, and there was a study that came out of Montreal about 4 months ago that showed that the brain fired 9 times as much when we were face-to-face with people versus on Zoom. So we know that 90% of our communication is nonverbal, so it is the hug, it's the high five, it's the how you doing, great to see you, and we lose all that, you know, when we're on Zoom. And I think the research has also shown, you know, text is okay, phone's better, Zoom's better, and face-to-face is the best. But even those who can really engage on Zoom, that little gap over time builds to a point of disconnection. And so we all need to recognize that digital technology is a supplement to connection, not a replacement.
But you know, this thing started long before the pandemic, and one of the things that kind of drove me nuts, you go out to eat, and we also rail against places where you can't hear the person you're with, but to connect with the person, and you look around, and especially the younger people, but now the older people too, they're on their phones. Their friends are there. They're on the phone.
Yeah, it's sad, and I mean, you're right. It's not just the younger people; it's older people as well, but more so with the younger people. And seeing it, 6 people or whatever, all at the table, all looking at their phones, and the most they might do is share something. They'll share an image. You know, they won't even go over and show the person. They just will share it. And again, it's insidious because it seems efficient, it seems effective, it's just like an analog to interpersonal connection. But in reality, it's a cheap replacement, as Pete was saying. It should be a supplement, not a replacement. And I think people are doing a disservice to themselves by basically creating a barrier between themselves, because again, you're looking at the phone, you're not looking at the person, you're not picking up the subtle nonverbal cues that you would otherwise see the entire time.
Well, I think it's more of a problem of education. So like the General Project, for example, educates people on the importance of human connection and of being sociable, having social etiquette. So if we educate these young people on how to have social etiquette, on the value of human connection, then maybe they won't be on their phones.
There's more and more talk about we need to start integrating, you know, education in our curriculum from like the earliest ages, how important it is for us to have friends, to, develop social connections, nurture social relationships. Like, we learn about how to stay physically active and how important it is for our health. We learn about
Doesn't
how to
mean we
eat
do
well.
it.
I know, but I think if there is more awareness around just like how important it is for us to stay connected, it'll go a long way.
We have a crisis right now. We all need to understand this. We need to be in workplaces. We need to be in schools. We need to be in seniors' homes. We need to educate this population quickly so that we can all recognize the understanding loneliness, but then understanding what can we do as an individual, whether it's for us or maybe for the friends that we have in our lives.
I also think that parents need to act as role models.
Great comment.
I think when I think about my childhood, my mom was always very social. She was talking to the neighbors. She would encourage us to knock on friends' doors. And I remember one of my childhood friends in the 5th grade, she said, oh, go knock on her door and ask her where she lives, and we'll go after school and knock on her door. And I think today that would be kind of weird to ask someone at school, where do you live, and we'll go knock on her door.
Right. I'm going to take it even further, though, because I've got daughters from 26 to 14, so I've watched this for the last 26 years. Go to any playground, go to any schoolyard, go to any swimming pool, ice rink. What do you see? The parents are on their phone. The kids from the youngest of ages aren't getting that connection of watching, oh, I'm the most important thing to my parent. No, you're second. Right? And I mean, when they get older, they got to know their place. But as a little child, it's integral to our development to think that my parent is focusing on me. I'm the center of the universe. And that's been changed completely over the last 15 to 20 years with smartphones. That's a huge societal change.
Okay, don't go away. There's more after the break.